So guys, today I will share one with you all, so let's start. We see our first male lead, Taeju, who is running, and behind him are 3 guys. One of them is Kim. Taeju is alone, and they are 3, and they catch him. So Kim says to Taeju, "Why did you do that with my girlfriend?" Taeju says, "I didn't do anything. She came to me herself. Anyway, she is very cute." He starts to punch Kim, but Taejun stops him and says, "If you hit me, you don't know what will happen to you." He says, "Maybe you don't know that my dad is the director of TB Group?" Taeju starts laughing. Then Kim says, "You are laughing?" and punches him. Just then, our second male lead, Gook, arrives. Seeing Gook, Kim says, "I was just thinking why Taeju's servant hadn't arrived yet." "And you are Taeju's servant?" Gook says, "Yes, I am his servant. Why?" Kim is about to punch Gook, but Taeju punches him instead and says, "My dad is the chairman of TB Group." And they both leave from there. Then we see that Taeju's dad slaps Gook and says, "Whenever you make a mistake, Gook gets the punishment. Taeju, this is your last warning. If you do something like this again, I will send you to England. You know I keep you secretly so that people don't find out about you, and that's why I gave you both a separate house." Then Taeju and Gook go to their house, where only the 2 of them live. Gook is dressing Taeju's wound, meaning he is treating the mark on his face from the punch. And he is saying, "You shouldn't have told him that your dad is the chairman, because you know we are living here so that we never have any problems." Then Taeju says, "It's a good thing we live here. You can eat as many noodles as you want and play games with me all night. Don't you like all this?" Gook says, "No, I like it a lot." And Taeju starts teasing him and climbing on top of him. But Gook pushes him and throws him down. So Taeju starts acting, "Oh no, it hurts a lot." Gook goes near him and asks, "Are you really in pain?" Then Taeju starts fighting with him, meaning he was just joking. After that, Gook also starts fighting with him. Gook was quite strong, so Taeju starts pressing on Gook's weak point to defeat him, which was his ear. When Taeju touches his ear, Gook becomes quiet and thinks to himself, "This is Taeju's worst habit." In the morning, Gook takes Taeju to a cafe and says, "I came here a few days ago, and the food here is very tasty." The lady there gets very happy seeing Gook and says to Taeju and Gook, "Taeju, you seem like a bottom to me, and Gook, you seem like a top." But she was saying it in such a way that neither of them understood anything. Then the lady's daughter, Hayami, arrives. The lady explains that Gook was their first customer. They had just opened the cafe a week ago, and Taeju had gone to Japan then, so Gook came here and became their first customer. Hayami looks at Gook and says, "Oh, so this is the one you always talk about?" After eating, they both start to leave, and Hayami starts following them. So Taeju says, "What's the matter? Why are you following us?" She says to Gook, "Can I get your number? My mom always talks about you." But you are even more handsome than she described. So Taeju says, "Really? You're asking for his number instead of mine?" Usually, girls ask for my number. But she ignores Taeju and asks Gook for his number. Gook gives her his number. Hayami leaves. Taeju says, "Oh, so when I was in Japan, you were here and there flirting with girls?" Gook says, "No, I just saw her for the first time today." Taeju says, "Oh, so you must have felt really good giving her your number?" Gook says, "No, I didn't give her my number. It's a fake number." Taeju gets happy and says, "Okay then, fine," and leaves. Next, we see them both standing when Kim arrives. He says to Taeju, "I don't know why, but my dad told me to apologize to you. I don't want to, but please forgive me. And yes, stay away from my 4th girlfriend." He starts to leave. Taeju grabs him and says, "If you want me to stay away from your 4th girlfriend, you will have to stay close to me." And he starts touching Kim's ear. Gook cannot bear to see this and stops Taeju, saying, "What are you doing?" Taeju says, "No need to be so serious. I was just joking." Gook says, "Oh, sorry." Then we see them both sitting together, where Taeju asks, "Why did you do that?" Gook says, "I don't like that guy." Taeju says, "Why?" "I think he's cute." Gook says, "Cute? Look at your face once." He meant that the cute girl had punched him, which left a mark on his face. Taeju says, "It's okay. Anyway, I can easily protect myself from guys like him." So Gook says, "That's good. So does that mean you don't need a bodyguard anymore?" Taeju feels very bad about this and says, "From today onwards, don't even say such a thing as a joke." Then they both go for a karate fight. Gook is taking off his shirt, and Taeju says, "Wow, man, your body is very fit." Just then, Gook gets a message. Taeju asks, "Whose message is this?" Gook says, "I don't know." Taeju checks and sees it was from Hayami. He had given the real number but said it was fake. Gook sees this and says, "Why did you do this?" Taeju says, "So that you can date and enjoy your life." Meanwhile, Hayami's mom is explaining to her, "Daughter, give up this hope. They both like each other." Hayami says, "No, I don't think so." Meanwhile, Taeju and Gook are fighting. Taeju says, "You should talk to her." And Gook says, "I will absolutely not talk to her." Then Taeju says, "This is my order." Then Gook says, "Your order doesn't work here." They start fighting again. Just then Taeju says, "Now I am going to touch your ear." But Gook doesn't let him. Taeju touches his chest and says, "Wow, your chest is much firmer than before. You don't need more exercise." Then Gook twists Taeju's hand, causing Taeju to need a bandage on his hand. Then we see them both come home, where Gook sits down. Taeju says, "Now look, my hand is injured. How will I eat, drink, and bathe?" Gook says, "I don't know," and says, "You can bathe with one hand." But Taeju says, "You could help me bathe, couldn't you? Help me bathe." Gook says, "No, you go yourself." Taeju goes to bathe. Meanwhile, Gook gets a message from Hayami. "I know this is soon, but are you free this Saturday?" Gook replies, "Yes, I am free. Let's go out, on a date." Then he hears Taeju's voice. Taeju had gotten completely wet in his clothes, so he says to Gook, "I told you, you should have bathed me, and look, I'm all wet." Then Gook helps him bathe. He takes off his clothes and starts washing his hair. He helps him, and Taeju says, "I'm feeling ticklish." Gook says, "Just a little more." Then Taeju says, "My mom used to wash my hair just like this." Then Taeju asks, "Won't you bathe?" Gook says, "You bathe first, then I will bathe." But Taeju wanted Gook to bathe right then. Playfully, he rubs shampoo from his hair onto Gook's shirt. After showering, Taeju starts drying his hair. Just then, Gook comes with the dryer and tells Taeju, "I will go on a date with Hayami tomorrow during the time you have your tuition class." Taeju says, "Wow, you're already making plans and informing me later?" Then Gook says, "You were the one who told me to date. Now that I am dating, you shouldn't have a problem." So Taeju says, "If you date someone, you can't even think of avoiding me." Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Taeju goes outside and sees the same girl because of whom Kim was hitting him in the first scene. She is angry at Taeju because he gave the same gift to her friend. She starts hitting him. To stop her, Taeju kisses her. Gook, standing far away, sees all this and says, "Even if I want to, I can't take my eyes off him because I am his bodyguard." The next morning, we see Gook making very delicious food for Taeju. Taeju says to Gook in a flirty manner, "Will you feed me with your hands because my hand is injured?" Gook starts feeding him, and Taeju continues flirting and looking at him lovingly. But Gook doesn't respond to the flirting, only smiles back. Just then, Taeju says, "Will you just keep looking at me? Or will you also make the effort to flirt? How will you go on a date like this?" Gook says, "That's my business. You finish your breakfast quickly." So Taeju says, "No. I will have to train you on what to do on a date." Then we see that Taeju had called Kim so that both of them could train Gook, meaning give him dating and flirting training. Kim kept talking about his girlfriend, so Taeju said, "If you only want to talk about your girlfriend, then leave, because I called you here to help Gook." After that, Taeju asks Gook, "Have you ever kissed a girl? You saw me kissing that girl last night, right?" Just then Kim says, "Did you kiss her? She came to fight with you. How could you kiss her?" Then Taeju says, "Looks like you don't know about anger kisses." Kim says, "I only know about angry birds." Just then, Kim's friends come to pick him up, and he leaves. Then Taeju pulls Gook close and says, "You will have to do something like this to impress her. You can do this, right?" As they move apart, Gook quickly pulls him close and says, "Is your heartbeat fast?" Taeju asks, "Are you angry?" Gook says, "Listen to me carefully. Don't test me again and again. Please, I beg you." Then we see Taeju's class is going on, and Gook is sitting behind him. Taeju says to Gook, "Now go on your date." Gook starts to leave. As soon as he leaves, Taeju removes the bandage from his hand. His teacher asks, "Will you be okay?" Taeju says, "Yes. Anyway, this bandage was fake." When Taeju sees Gook going with that girl, he feels very jealous and tells his teacher, "I am very hungry." On the other side, Hyami is flirting with Gook and says, "Last night I had a dream where we got married and had 2 kids." Taeju gets permission from his teacher and comes to the same cafe where Gook is and sits at a separate table. Gook keeps looking at Taeju repeatedly. Hayami asks, do you like Taeju or does Taeju like you? Gook says, no, it's not like that. Between us, there is only the relationship of master and servant. Taeju hears all this and feels very bad. He calls Kim and asks, do you want to eat pasta? Kim says, I am not your servant that whenever you feel like it, I will come running to you, and hangs up. Meanwhile, Hayami keeps flirting with Gook. Gook says, I want to like you. Taeju starts laughing hard, goes over to them, and says, you both are really strange. How will you date each other? And what kind of line was that? I want to like you. Just then Hayami says, we are talking first. Let us talk, then you speak. Taeju quietly goes and sits down. The date ends, and Gook is with Taeju. Taeju has no bandage on his hand, so Gook asks, where is your bandage? Taeju tells him that the bandage was fake. Taeju's driver arrives, and he sits in the car. He says to Gook, today you will come on foot. After all, we only have the relationship of master and servant. And he leaves. Then Gook starts walking home on foot. On the other side, Taeju is thinking about Gook. A little later, he tells his driver, let's go back. He sees that Gook was really walking on foot. Taeju angrily says to Gook, I told you to walk home. Are you really crazy that you're walking home? Couldn't you take a taxi? Quietly get in the car. Gook says, you always do whatever you want. Then they both reach home. Taeju says, I don't know why I did that. Gook says, because you are mean. Taeju says, no, it's not like that. Do you feel the same thing that I feel? Gook says, I don't know what you are talking about. That night, they are both lying down. Taeju says to Gook, hug me like my mom. Gook says, no, and stops him from hugging. Then Taeju says, I am very sad, so Gook hugs him. The next morning, we see that their game is about to start. Hayami says to Gook, please protect me. Gook says, this is my job because I am a real bodyguard. Taeju laughs at him and says, what kind of line was that? Then the game starts. Gook was really protecting Hayami, and along with her, he was also protecting Taeju. In the confusion of both, the ball hits Taeju. Taeju looks at Gook, and Gook also looks at Taeju, wondering what happened. Everyone leaves from there. Taeju is lying down. Gook comes with a water bottle and says, apply this to your injury. You will feel better. Taeju says, you are my bodyguard? Not Hayami's. You should have protected me. Not her. Gook says, I was protecting both of you. I didn't realize the ball would hit you. Anyway, consider this punishment because you faked an injury. Then Taeju climbs on top of Gook. But Gook says, what do you want to do? Taeju says, what do you mean, what do I want to do? Confused, Gook says, do you want to fight here? People are watching us. Let's fight later, but not here. Then Taeju says, stop pretending, because he knew Gook was about to kiss him here. But he lied. And now stop lying and don't act like you don't understand anything. Let's decide today what we feel for each other. And Taeju leans forward to kiss him. When they were about to kiss, Kim sees them both. Hayami was about to go to Gook, but Kim stops her, saying, they are fighting right now. You shouldn't go there. He keeps her engaged in conversation there. On the other side, Gook angrily pushes Taeju off him and says, let's go home. He holds his hand and takes him away in front of Kim and Hayami. Then we see Hayami asking her mom, does jealousy exist in friendship too? Her mom asks, is there jealousy going on between Taeju and Gook? They are really very cute. In the next scene, we see Taeju and Gook fighting in the karate room, and Gook wins. He starts to leave, so Taeju says, I get very angry when you are with Hayami. I thought maybe it was friendly jealousy, but maybe not. I like you. And he hugs Gook from behind and says, I want to see you. I want to hug you. And the day I don't see you, I feel like crying. Then Gook says, stop all this. I am not your mom. Stop treating me like your mom. So Taeju says, I'm not so crazy that I can't see the difference between my mom and you. I admit I like you, but not like my mom. You tell me what you feel for me. Then Gook says, 15 years ago, when you went to Japan for a week, that was the best week for me. I was happiest then. When I am not with you, I get freedom and I feel happy. So Taeju says, if that's the case, then go tell my dad that you don't like living with me. Then we see Hayami coming to meet Gook. She gives him a guardian angel that she made herself. Gook says, I want to tell you something. He starts to say that he talks to Taeju just as much, but Hayami silences him and says, my mom was absolutely right. I should have understood from the start. She now understood that Gook would love Taeju and wouldn't love her. After that, Gook goes home and sees that everything in the house is scattered, and Taeju is not home. He finds out Taeju's last location from his phone and goes there. Just then, Kim arrives and tells Gook that he had seen them kissing that day and that he told the chairman. He also says, I was asked to keep an eye on you both. And now the chairman has caught Taeju. Gook says, if he is with the chairman, I don't need to worry. On the other side, we see Taeju's dad saying, I shouldn't have let you both live together. Taeju says, this is my fault. This is one-sided love. Only I like Gook. Gook doesn't like me at all. Please, I request you, don't punish him. His dad says, you are very weak, just like your mother. Taeju says, please, don't say anything wrong about my mom. Just then, Taeju's father's bodyguard arrives and says that Gook has come. Gook is fighting with the boarding guards to get to Taeju. Then Gook arrives. Taeju's dad asks, why did you come in? Can you explain this? Gook says, we have lived together for 15 years. I think I should talk to Taeju for 5 minutes. Just then, the bodyguards start hitting Gook. Taeju says, I am ready to go to England, but I request you, please don't punish Gook. I will leave for England tomorrow. And I want that before I go to England tomorrow, let me and Gook go home. His dad agrees. Then we see them both go home. Taeju is applying ointment to Gook's wounds and says, you didn't need to come there. I'd set you free. Gook says, is that why you're asking why I came there? Taeju says, I am very angry at Kim. I will kill him. He says, I don't want to go to England. Gook holds his hand, takes him to the bedroom, gives him a long hug and says, I like you so much. Then they both lie down. Taeju says, if you liked me, you should have kissed me that day. We didn't even kiss that day. He pulls Gook close. Then Gook jokes, I am not so crazy that I would kiss someone whose lips are bleeding. Taeju says, when I come back, find a nice rice cake shop for me. Gook says, you don't need to come back. You just enjoy there. Taeju says, my happiness is only in being with you. That's why I will definitely come back. The next morning, we see Taeju leaving and Gook watching him go. Neither of them wanted to be separated, but they had to part ways. Then we are shown a scene after 3 years. Gook is at Hayami's cafe, preparing to go to Japan. Hayami's mom is very sad that she won't be able to see Gook's handsome face every day anymore. She gives him some money because he used to work there part-time. Kim also arrives, who is now dating Hayami. Gook leaves from there, and Hayami's mom is crying because she regrets that Gook will not come back here again. Then Hayami asks Kim, did you tell Taejun that Gook is going to Japan? He says, yes, I told him he is going to Japan, but he didn't give me any response. Gook is walking to a place and thinking, it's been 3 years, and Taejun still hasn't come back. Now I am going to Japan to call him back. He goes and sits by a riverbank. Just then, a very familiar voice calls out to him. What happened? Are you going to Japan all alone? But I had told you to find a nice rice cake place where we could go to eat. If you're going to Japan now, then I will just come with you to Japan. Gook becomes extremely happy and says, really? You came back. Taejun touches Gook's ear, and Gook doesn't waste any time. He kisses Taejun. And with this kiss, their story has a happy ending here.